In this video, I'm going to go over something that I had a dream about last night. I'm going to give you the facts that are 100% true. It can be easily proven. And Massachusetts Department of Health and or Social Services and Social Security of Massachusetts has already written this down, pressed charges, and my father had me clear it all out for him. Not that he kept his end of the bargain, he just used me once again. But he's also still trying to finish me off so that nobody understands what really happened to me. He doesn't want his family or to have a black mark for what he did. So he's trying to kill me off as fast as possible in a weird and unusual way. It's basically crippling somebody, poisoning somebody, and that's this wife who was doing that. Get caught, move me to Texas, get caught, move me to New Mexico. Don't have any teachers, doctors, don't have any teachers and doctors in Maine. Move me to Mass, commit stories, stuff like that. That's all proven. That has nothing to do with the dream. That has, well, there's proof out there. I just am so crippled. I can't drive. I can't walk. I can't work. I'm not allowed to work. I mean, I still work, but then I have a seizure or injuries in front of customers, and then they tell me I can't come back, or my injuries become so apparent that everybody's worried about me, and then I can't come back. I can't use shelters. They just say I'm stubborn and I'm not allowed to come back. Why am I stubborn? Because I have a disability in my nervous system, where when I wake up in the morning like now, my legs don't exactly work great. And this was seen through my childhood, but not as bad. The problem is the person, let's say one of the big ones. Let's go over two of the big ones. The overdose that caused this happened in Westford from the age of 5 to 7. My mother and father saw this. They saw their kid lose their vision, lose the ability to use their body, lose the ability to speak all of a sudden when he's excited to watch Batman. But before Batman can even really start, he loses his vision, his body is fried. Well, why did this happen all of a sudden? Well, my mother called me in the hallway, gave me some pills. She wanted me to pass out so she could take Batman off the TV right away. She used to do this quite often. When my mother needed to get her way, she would use pills to do it. If nobody was allowing her, they said, no, 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 let him go trick-or-treating. No, 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 let's watch Batman. She would slip me some pills, I would pass out, and then she would do whatever she wants. She would get her way. She figured this out when I was 5 to 7 years old. The problem is I was only a foster child at that point. So when she destroyed my nervous system, then she adopted me. But during the adoption, she even drugged me. Yes, I was passed out on the bench. Now, it was early in the morning, like 8 o'clock, but I was hyper that morning. As soon as I woke up, I was hyper. Then my mother gave me my normal meds. And then before we got into the car, she drugged the shit out of me. I passed out in the car. I passed out on a wooden bench in this basement for one part of the adoption, right in front of whoever was there. When I woke up, they were shaking me, kind of tapping me. Wake up, it's all over. The whole place was empty. My mother tried to carry me because I was having problems walking. Then she said I was too heavy, so I kind of did a hobble walk to the car. Passed out in the car. Then we went to an adoption party. Don't get this mixed up with the baptism party, because a lot of relatives do. The adoption party that was in a ski loft up high. It wasn't anything like the baptism party. It was up in this ski loft, all surrounded by windows with a bar right there. There's an alcohol bar, things like that. That I also was all drugged up for. Now, there you got some of the background information. Now, you would think that I would have got help for this with all these injuries. Nope. Why? If you had so many seizures, if you had one every 4 years, and if you always were having problem moving your body, didn't people realize? Of course they did. The doctors and teachers saw this sudden change in my body right after the overdose. They started putting me in physical therapy, speech therapy. Of course, my mother and father would say, oh no, he was born like that. No, I wasn't. I had none of these problems in the orphanage, St. Anne's. I had none of these problems at any point until the overdose. And of course, I was there for the overdose. It did not feel good. So I know when I woke up, my body was different, and I started sucking on my damn skin. Well, what did the doctor say about that? Nothing, because my mother said I was suicidal, and that's why I was sucking on my skin. What type of mother did you have? One that is literally about to kill me. My mother, me, and my father have a big issue where they want to manslaughter me in a very weird and unusual way. And now that I know about it, now that I'm trying to handle it, now that I'm sober, I don't use drugs, I'm not running from it, he wants to try to speed things up a little bit. He's trying to put walls up to prevent me from getting help. I'll give you an example. I had no idea I was on Social Security to age 20. At age 19 to 20, I'm applying for food stamps and Social Security. I put the food stamps in, but everybody sees me have problems walking. They see a bunch of pills being forced into me. And when I mean forced into me, I was brainwashed. I had pills forced into me. I was brainwashed into believing if I didn't take these pills, something horrible would happen to me. And so my mother forced me to take pills. When I tried to say, no, I don't want these pills, medical professionals would hold me on the ground and force them into my body. Not only that, there were times where my roommates in these hospitals would be mad at me. I would tell them, you need to stop talking about it. It's just a candy cane. Why are you fucking bothering me? It's just I have a toothache. I had a toothache, so I crushed and ate. I couldn't suck on a candy cane, so I had to eat it. I had to break it into pieces and eat it. That's it. Just break it into pieces and eat the candy cane, just like you would do with a jawbreaker. You know those little jawbreakers. But my roommate was talking about cocaine and it's bothering me. So I tell him, "What the fuck? Do you want cocaine or something? Why the hell are you fucking talking like that?" He didn't like me putting him out there. I go, "You're like 15. What the fuck are you talking about cocaine for?" Something like that is what I said. Just kind of made him embarrassed, put him on the spot for what he was saying. Then he goes, "Watch this." He walks out of the room, goes someplace. Then, without the kid coming back, one of the staff nurses who likes to watch kids in pain. I watched her smiling and laughing when a kid was on pain before. She gets some thrills out of seeing kids hurt. I'm not sure what that was about, but she definitely shouldn't be in the medical field. But that doesn't matter. It's not me who is getting hurt. But she comes by and she asks me, "Did you take your medication?" And I say, "Yeah, you guys saw me take it. I was right up there. You guys saw me take it. I took the water and swallowed it. Why?" She goes, "Well, we don't think you took it." I go, "Well, I did. You guys saw it." She goes, "Well, we're going to give you another dose." Now, you got to remember, this is Seroquel, Thorazine, Haldol. We're both the same. So one or the other. You got Risperidone, Lamictal. Oh, we even had lithium, all at the same day. We're not talking about these were separate days. My nighttime med, I'll give you an example. My nighttime med was Thorazine, 150 of Thorazine, 800 of Seroquel, 200 of Trazodone, Risperidone, and Lamictal, and one more med I can't think of right now, all put together. In the morning, I would be taking something like Ritalin, Wellbutrin, and then maybe a random med my mother wanted me to take, like lithium. Then in the afternoon, a combination of three of these put together, like Seroquel, lithium, and then maybe one other or something like that. Sometimes there was only one in the afternoon, three, but there was always drugging me up. And of course, I got worse and worse. The more drugs put in my body, the more symptoms I exhibited. And my mother would just blame it. It's a mental illness. It's this illness, with nothing but her stories to back it. Meanwhile, I'm literally having seizures. I'm literally bloodied up. I'm found unconscious on the fucking ground at times. But why did nobody do anything about it? Because my mother and father wanted to make sure that they didn't get caught for their crimes. So what they did is they made bad decisions on purpose. For instance, I was having a lot of these problems because of the overdose. I had a neurological disorder. I couldn't move my body properly anymore. I'm age 7. What are they going to do? The teachers are catching on. They're putting me in physical therapy and speech therapy, and they're calling me in the hallway going, "Something has changed with you all of a sudden. We've known you for a year now, Zach, and you walk different than this. You talk different than this. You write different than this. But all of a sudden, it looks like you're having trouble moving your body. Did something happen at home? And I'm only 7, so I go, I don't know. I don't know. Well, we're calling home. So they call home, start putting me in physical therapy. The doctor asked me, do you have you had any problems? It looks like you have problems with your coordination, they start saying. I say, yeah, my mother gave me meds, and then this happened. I lost my vision. I couldn't feel my body. I couldn't talk. I was on the ground, and I passed out on a pile of newspapers unconscious. And it was like I lost all my senses. It was like I lost the ability to use any of my senses, feel, see, all of it. And that's the exact way I told the doctor and my father. But my father and mother said, there's nothing to see here. It was just an allergy attack. Don't look into it. Well, that wasn't working so much because there's people who knew me before my mother destroyed my body. So they decide to adopt me, but suddenly after the adoption, they move me to Texas. That will cover all this up. We'll cut off the doctors, cut off the teachers, we'll move to Texas. Now, my father didn't really know what was going on 100%. Now, I know he knows what's going on now. My father's known this for a while now. Now he just wants to kill me off. Now that he knows, he's decided the best way forward is to try to kill me off, but not directly. He's going to make decisions that result in my death. He's going to make phone calls. He's going to slander me. He's going to try to cut off doctors. He's going to try to fuck around with Social Security, making sure that I never get any financial assistance. When I try to work, I get injured, but he's going to try to make sure that I can't work or do anything. If I try to go to work, I'll get injured and they'll tell me I need a doctor. But my father will make sure no doctor will write the paperwork I need to return to work, cutting off all work. How could my father, if I'm 32, do this? Because they started doing this at age 5, and they're still continuing to do it now. So the doctors needed to know what was going on with me, but I only figured out at the age of 24, 25, and I started really being able to be an adult about this. That's why I'm sober today, is because I'm facing my demons. But that also requires me getting better and having people actually know what happened to me. This is wrong what's happened to me. But see, my father wants to call it a fantasy and try to make it permanent, so that way when he dies, there's nothing I can do. Well, I'm going to go over the dream last night. So we're going to have to go over Social Security. I'm age 19, 20. I have no idea I'm on Social Security. All I knew was I was the only kid in Crossroads at age 15 that wasn't allowed to go clothing shopping. Every single month, every orphan, every foster kid would get a check of $200. I don't care if it was $50. I would have been happy with $40. But that's not the point. The other kids got $200, a check from the state, and they would go out clothing shopping to get clothes every month. I wasn't allowed to go because I had zero clothing money. And I was punished to my room every month, and I asked, why am I punished to my room? They said, ask your father. But I kept on asking every month, both my father and the program. The staff member goes, we don't have staff members. They called me in just to sit in a chair and play on my phone. I am not working today. I'm not working, but I have to sit here anyways. I go, well, why can't we go downstairs and cook a meal? Because they don't have the funding. All the staff members are with all the kids doing what they're supposed to. Today, once a month, is clothing shopping day. You guys go out on a van. We bring you to 4 to 5 different clothing stores, and then you guys have somebody over watching you to make sure you're buying clothing. But I'm not allowed to go because all the kids feel bad for me. What do I mean by that? I'm called the raggedy kid. I'm either wearing short shorts my father bought me the year prior that don't fit, and they think I'm like some gay guy wearing short shorts. Yes, every pair of shorts my father got me, I outgrew, and he thought they're just fine. They're just above the knee a little, but I would get made fun of. So they called me the raggedy kid. I had also a lot of church clothes at home, just like some church and funeral type clothes. I had some of those. And I had extra large clothes or stuff I traded cigarettes for so I could have some normal clothing. Now this went on for years. Every single month, about 14 kids or more, let me see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14. 14, actually, that sounds about right, yeah. Yeah, exactly 14. So 13 other kids would get into a van and go clothing shopping. But I wasn't allowed to go because every kid felt bad for me. I was the raggedy kid wearing rags all the time. I wasn't allowed to have clothing money. And I had to get punished to my room every month just because I had no clothing money. And when I asked for supper, they said, no, we don't have staff members to cook supper. We told you to ask your father to let you go clothing shopping with the other kids. Tell them that the other kids get a $200 check and you get nothing. They told me to ask him about that. I told my father, hey, Dad, why do I gotta have no clothing? Why do I have to have. Well, I will do the clothing shopping around here. When I feel like you need clothing, you will get it. So there was a lot of that going on. Well, we do the clothing shopping. There's no need. So then I explained to him, I'm punished to my room every month because I have no clothing money to go shopping. And I'm called the raggedy kid. I'm wearing extra large sweaters, and my father sees this. My father sees me wearing an extra, extra large orange sweater. He sees me wearing baggy pants that don't fit. He sees me wearing pants that I have to wrap a belt almost all the way around to wear because they're 3 sizes too big. My father sees me going through this year after year, but he doesn't care. He decides the best thing to do is just spend 200 bucks on me twice a year on clothing, and they can call it even. But that's not going to keep me clothed like any other orphan. The other orphans are at least basically clothed. The kids in school are basically clothed. But I'm always the kid that has to choose between weird outfits. There's not much. No matter what I choose, there's not much I can do. I can maybe wear one shirt and one pants over and over and over, and that's about the only normalcy I can get. But then I'm the kid that's always wearing the same shirt. You can't wear the same shirt for 2 years straight. You gotta have choices. But it doesn't matter because no other orphan, no other foster kid, no other kid with parents is has clothing like I do. I'm being made fun of at school. I'm being made fun of in the program. No matter what I wear, I'm the kid that doesn't have clothing. I have clothing, but it's either shit that's too small, shit that I traded for that's too big, or it's just some new clothes for Christmas, some pajamas that my father and mother picked out without even asking me. Then every spring before school, they'll bring me clothing shopping to TJ Maxx to buy about $200 worth of clothing once a year. So once a year I got $200 worth of clothing. That's about it. Now, they'll try to say there's a lot, but no matter what the money is, no matter what the amounts are, the point is every other orphan kid, every adult in the program, every teacher I ever had knew that something was wrong with my clothing budget. They all saw me wearing short shorts that don't fit, and I had no shorts that fit. They all saw me wearing super baggy clothes because I was forced to trade to get them. Yes, the clothing that I needed to wear, the clothing I wanted, I wasn't allowed to have. I had to trade for extra large or whatever I could find. I wanted them to fit. But when you're trading cigarettes, you don't really get a choice sometimes. So this was going on. I had no idea why I was being called the raggedy kid. I'm doing my best to trade. I'm selling as many cigarettes as I can. I'm trying to get the clothing. I'm trying. I've asked my father. I've asked my father to give me clothing money. I asked him to bring me on weekends, but he's too busy. I only get 2 days every week, and that's if my father's not on vacation. If he's out doing something, I'm lucky to get 4 days a month home. And he has to have me mow the lawn, he has to have me clean the house, and we have to go to church. He doesn't have time to bring me clothing shopping once a month. We definitely can't go clothing shopping once a month. I'm not worth that. That's just it. He doesn't have the time. So what? I thought this was allowed. I mean, okay. So I'm not getting clothing. Well, tell your father you need clothing. I did. I did. I told him all the other kids get $200 a month and I need clothing money, and he called me a liar. That's it. He said that the other kids don't get 200. You're lying. And then he walked away from me. Every single time I brought up the clothing with my father, he either called me a liar, said I had plenty of clothes, or he would handle it. And once again, I would have to be punished into my room every month to sit in my room And then when supper came, all I was allowed to do is go downstairs and grab one can. Normally it was Chef Boyardee, but we ran out of Chef Boyardee one month, so I ate green beans for supper. That's because of my father's choices. My father's choices. But I didn't know this during childhood. This is where I was able to figure this out as an adult. I was being lied to, manipulated, and I had no freedom, no power, no car, nothing. So it was all up to me, but I had no idea what illegal stuff my father and mother were doing. I only knew about some of the stuff I was doing. So anyways, at the age of 19 to 20, I'm in a housing program called Highfields. Now, there's many kids there from orphanages without parents that got put there. So don't think that my father's paying for this. He's not. He says he paid for these places because he thinks of the one he sued in New Mexico. He sued one of them and got $26,000. He paid for that one. So now he thinks he can say that about all the state programs. Any free or federal or state program that I go into, like Highfields, he's going to claim that somehow he paid for it. But I know that's not true. I know that for a fact. Because guess what happened next? So my father's using my Social Security to try to get himself a big house. That's what he's really doing. I have no idea he's doing this. But keep that in the back of your mind. He has this big house. I'm not living in it. I'm living in Highfields in Lawrence, and I'm happy to be there. I'm finally not getting abused. I'm finally not being punished to my room during clothing day. I'm just a normal kid like the rest of these kids. Took me to 19 years old to get to be a normal kid, but now I'm finally like the other people. I'm all like the other young adults. You know, young adults are usually 18 to 25. That's a young adult. They have some emotional issues, stuff like that. By the way, I know my voice makes it sound like I might be weird, but I'll have this voice even if I'm 50. It's part of what my mother and father did to me. They destroyed my nervous system. My legs walk funny, my arms move funny, my voice is funny, and depending on how much stimulus is destroying my nervous system at the time, it gets worse. If I take like epilepsy medication, my voice goes down back to normal like it should be. But if I'm watching a flashing light in the cold, it will be as high pitched as a girl. So keep that in mind that this is a medical condition, my voice. It's not like I'm going wah, 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 like Eric down the street or something. It's not an emotional issue. It's just I'm trying to get physical health better. And my voice is always going to be like this. Even when I'm just working as a worker, helping somebody, even though I still sound funny. I've even had people go, wow, that voice came out of that. We expected you to have a much different voice. I know. It doesn't matter even if I'm 60. If you look at me when I'm age 50, and I won't live that long if this continues, but if you looked at me at age 50, you would think my voice isn't like this, but it's getting worse. It'll be even more girly, and my voice will sound even more childish when I turn 50. And there's nothing, it's a physical condition in my nervous system. It's not a mental condition, so you can try all you want. It's just going to continue getting worse until I get proper epilepsy medication and the doctors really know what's going on. So anyways, my father is out doing his own thing with a big house. I'm in this Lawrence housing program called Highfields. I'm with a bunch of other foster kids, orphans, and people without parents. And I'm applying for food stamps. I fill out the application. But then I also apply, I'm about to apply for Social Security. The staff members, the other disabled children, they all say, you have problems moving your body at times. Your legs look funny, your arms look funny, your speech is funny at times, and you're on all these meds. We think you should be on Social Security, the other kids and the staff members say. Really? I should be? Oh, well, let me ask my DMH worker. So my DMH worker from Massachusetts comes by for a meeting with just me. I tell him I want to apply for Social Security. He goes, we can do that. Absolutely, you should be on Social Security. I'm glad you asked, Zach. I'll get you the paperwork and we'll fill it out. Okay, great. So then we have a meeting the following month with my mother, my father. Remember, my mother is drugging me. I already know this. I know my mother is doing something very bad to me. I don't know what to call it. I don't know what it means, but I know I'm in pain. I'm suffering because of something she's doing. I know that much. And my father, I know, is just out in space in La La Land. How do I know this? Because my sister, who is age, I guess about 50, will throw out. I don't want to lose the thought, the memory. I'm trying to remember us in the living room as we speak. So, at the age of about 16 or so, I'll say, maybe a little older, but somewhere in between 15 and 17, I would say, somewhere in between that, my sister, her husband, me, my mother and father are in the kitchen and living room in Chelmsford. I come in the door, my sister's on the couch with her husband, my mother's in the kitchen, my father's in the kitchen. They ask me, what is your problem with Patricia? What is your problem with your mother? I said, really? She acts crazy, that's what. She acts crazy and it hurts. They go, what do you mean? And she gets mad. I'm not crazy. She's getting mad. They go, can you elaborate on that? Because that doesn't make much sense. I go, oh, okay. I'll give you an example. That will help. Because it's really hard to describe crazy behaviors, but here's one for you. I said, Mom gave me an extra medication that destroyed my stomach and esophagus. Still today, I'm having problems because of what she did. My mother goes, what? No. Well, can you give us more information? I go, yeah, she gave me a full bottle of Epicac to punish me. She gave me extra Epicac, but I watched her fill that Dixie cup up. I watched her do it, and she bragged about it. And even if that's not the case, I still experienced the overdose. I still experienced drugs being given to me on Halloween that made me vomit. She still gave me drugs right before my adoption that I was passed out for. Well, it wasn't the actual adoption. It was just one part of it in a basement on a wooden bench. But I was passed out right after, and I could feel these pills. If you're going, well, you could have just been tired. Oh, no. If you take a Perk 30, you know you took a Perk 30. You know. If you're drowsy from Percocet, you know you're drowsy from Percocet. If you're drowsy from Thorazine, you know you're drowsy from Thorazine. When a pill kicks in and it doesn't feel great and you start getting uncontrollably tired, you know. So anyways, I was going through stuff, but as a child, I did not know what it meant. All I knew is my mother was giving me pills. The doctors know my mother's giving me pills. My sister knows my mother's giving me pills. Everybody knows my mother's giving me pills. And everybody also knows she's making up stories about me, except for the doctor. Because every time I cry to the doctor, my mother's making up stories about me. My mother's making up stories about me. My mother goes, it's a fantasy. So that went nowhere. But we'll go back. I go into the living room. We got my sister, my brother-in-law, my mother, and my father. So she gets mad that I'm talking about this full bottle of Epicac or extra Epicac. I guess you don't call it a full bottle because it's not like you drank it out of the bottle, but she tipped the bottle over and filled up the cup. And it was super thick. Well, I shouldn't say super thick. It was thicker than water. Not only that, I've taken Epicac before as a regular dose. I have. So I know what a regular dose of Epicac does, and I know what my mother did to me was wrong. And you can try to justify poisoning your child in a million different ways, but it doesn't make it right. You can call it extra and say that justifies it. Well, I only gave him extra medicine. It's not a full bottle. But that doesn't justify it, and that's what my mother did. She goes, it wasn't a full bottle, it was extra. And this is the way it happened. I went straight to my mother because she was about to start lying again. I know my mother likes to lie when she's in trouble. My father does the same thing. Lie, victim blame, blame the dog, lie, blame the dog, lie, blame the little orphan kid, lie, manipulate, lie, frame, lie, whatever gets you away. So I know this behavior, but I know there's one way I can stop her from doing this. So I say, well, you gave me extra Epicac. You gave me full bottle of Epicac. And then after I'm done explaining that, I go, and let me guess, Mom, you're going to lie now and call me a liar. You're going to manipulate, and you're going to tell me I'm all full of shit, right? Now, I saw it in my mother's eyes that she was about to go straight for saying that I'm making up a fantasy or this is a lie. So what I did, is I took that option away off the table. Because if she does that now, then she proved me right. So I say that, I go, you're going to call this a fantasy. You're going to tell everybody I'm lying now, right, aren't you? And then she goes, no. And then she tries to think of a lie that she can use without lying, and it doesn't work now. Her brain's all scrambled because she wants to lie and manipulate, but I just said she's going to lie and manipulate, and she doesn't want to prove me right. So instead, she picks the truth. Finally, somebody else hears the truth. So my mother goes, yeah, I gave him extra Epicac, so what? I gave him extra medicine, so what? And of course, my sister is horrified. My brother-in-law is horrified. My father is fine over there, kind of confused. So at this time I go, let me ask you guys a question. Do you think it's okay to give a child extra medication that is not prescribed without even checking with a doctor? And I look around the room like it's an actual question because nobody wants to answer the question. I say, well, I sure as hell think it's wrong. I would say no. I think it's wrong to give a child extra medication that they're not prescribed. Then I look at my sister. She goes, oh, of course not. That's wrong. That's not okay to do. And then my brother-in-law goes, well, of course that's bad. Something like that. Oh, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. But then my mother goes, it's fine to give a child extra medication he's not prescribed. It's okay, it's fine. I can do whatever I want with my son's body. That type of attitude. Then I turn to my father. My father goes, kind of like what she said. Yeah, that's okay. We all gasp because we expect my mother to hurt me. We expect my mother to fuck with my brains. We expect my mother to damage me and try to manslaughter me for the future. She's setting up a nice little death for me at the age of 30. We expect this behavior from her. But my father? No, we didn't expect this from my father. So we all gasped. And you know what my father said? What did I miss? Did I miss something? What did I miss? So we had that stuff going on. Now we're going to jump back to age 19. I'm age 19, 20. I'm applying for Social Security. My worker said they're going to help me with it. I'm in a program that's designed to help people with Social Security. I've been in this program for, I guess, more than a year, and I've seen the other kids do Social Security classes. They're teaching them how to reapply, so that way when they turn 19 to 20, they'll continue collecting their Social Security. They're teaching them how to get a Social Security attorney. They're teaching them how to get their first apartment, stuff like that. Meanwhile, I'm going to the library to learn how to go to college. That's my route. There's two routes here. One of them is work in college, how to get a better job. And then the other route is how to see doctors, get lawyers, get your first apartment, stuff like that. Now, I'm on the college route because my father is lying to everybody, but nobody knows this yet. So anyways, my worker has my father, my mother, me, and the worker sit in the living room of Highfields in Lawrence, and this is a housing program. Now, if you're on Social Security, you have to pay them $600 every month in rent. But if you're not on Social Security, then you have to pay them a little bit in food stamps or stuff like that. There's other stuff. You have to pay them for the air conditioner if you leave it on. There's $30 fine if you leave your air conditioner on. If you can't pay it, then they put it on a wall and oh boy, it gets really bad. They start cutting off stuff you need and then you pay it. Or they just see the money come in and they take it. So stuff like that. Or you're not allowed to use the fridge if you owe money, or stupid stuff like that. Just $30. You don't leave the air conditioner on because the whole power goes out and then they have to have it turned back on. Anyways, so I asked, I'm going to be applying for Social Security again. Me and my worker are saying, he said, that's great. We're going to have you apply for Social Security. We're going to fill out the paperwork. I'll help you. And the reason why the worker wants them there is just so they can have a discussion with it. But then my father and mother whisper in each other's ear, and they go, well, he's already on it. Well, that's a problem, because that means they've been stealing rent money. That means they lied to me, and then now I committed a crime by filling out for food stamps and saying I'm not on Social Security. So they made me a liar. They turned me into a liar for the state, too. I don't want to be lying to the state, but they are lying to me. Then you also got them lying to the DMH worker. The DMH worker is like, what? That's illegal at this point. He has to be paying his rent. He has to be doing these classes. He's doing all the wrong stuff now because of you. You lied. So he lied to the program, because if the program knew, they would have had me in the Social Security classes. So this housing program now hasn't got their rent money that they're supposed to for over a year. Yes, my father stole my rent money and lied about that. Lied. So that way he could invest in a big house that he wanted. Yes, my father and mother wanted a big house in Chelmsford at 44 Spalding Road. So they thought that it was better to lie to the program, lie to me, lie to the Department of Health and Human Services. And they have to ask. The program did ask on paper when he signed me up. When I filled it out, they asked, is Zachary on Social Security? And so if you write no, that is punishable with 2 years in prison and a bunch of fines. So he's lying straight up. He's also, I asked him about that years prior, and I'm still asking him questions that have to do with that, and he's lying. Lying about clothing, lying about a lot. Okay, so now you got the worker. Does the worker know about it? No, he's horrified. He's mad. He's pressing charges. He comes back and he says, I need you to sign this paper. You're going to get all that money back. You'll be able to stay here. So they're going to go after my father in court. They're going to get the Social Security money back. Then they're going to give it to me, and then I have to give it to the housing program. But I've already missed out on a whole year's worth of classes I needed to take. So I'm going to lose everything. I'm going to lose my apartment, my house, and my health is failing. I'm applying for disability because there's something wrong with me that nobody knows about. They know I have a coordination issue, but I've also had falls like in New Mexico. Who saw my seizure in New Mexico? There was no supervision. They told us to play for a couple hours out in the cold. It was too windy and cold, so I went up against a tree. I'm shaking. All of a sudden, I wake up on my side on the ground, kind of like all scratched up. Now, at that time, I didn't think much of it. They had to carry me in, too. I wasn't able to walk. They picked me up, carried me in, and then they put a blanket around me, and they gave me hot cocoa, thinking it had to do with the cold. But I know that feeling now is called a seizure. I know it's called neurological symptoms, and when they go too severe, and if I look at a flashing light, and I'm in the cold at the same time, if it continues that feeling, then I wake up on my side, all bloody on the ground. I know that now. As a child, when I got this feeling, I would just try to bundle up, try to stop it, try not to look at the light, try to get warm. And it's from flashing lights, noises. I mean, we even saw me fall to the ground from noises several times. Even during fireworks, I was looking at flashing lights, it was noisy, and there was a little chilly in the air. I fell to the ground, covering my ears, screaming, I want to go home, I want to go home, I want to go home. And my father and mother go, can't you just be quiet and suffer a little quieter? They didn't even bring me to a hospital at any of these times because they didn't want anybody to find out. My mother was in control of my body, my health, and me. And then she kills herself because nobody got her help with this. The guilt was eating her up. She was drinking. She was pill popping. She died of liver failure. But my father tried to cover up her drinking too. I'm not kidding. They say old age. She died at 63 before retirement age, all of a sudden through liver failure. She's fine all of a sudden, then all of a sudden she's turning yellow and her liver's failing. And as her liver's failing, she continues to drink and pop pills at home. Yeah, I've watched her pop pills. My father even said, well, if she's only popping pills one time, it's okay. You're the one in trouble for seeing your mother pop pills. She was stealing some of my prescriptions, and she got caught, so she told my father, it's only one time. So obviously she wasn't getting the help she needed. I wasn't getting the help I needed, so she passed away, and I'm next. I'm going to be dead next. I can't get epilepsy medication. I can't get the doctors to listen. And when they find me bloody on the side of the road and I get brought to the emergency room, they have no idea what's going on, so they just release me on the spot. Well, my father wants to make that worse. Now, here's another one. So my father stole Social Security money, and he had me bail him out. He was supposed to keep the Social Security going So that way I also could talk to my mother about some of these issues. I needed information about what she was doing to my body. So I couldn't, and if I signed the paperwork like the state asked me, they would have fucked me up. My family would have took all their anger out on me. They do it all the time. If they do something wrong, it's my fault. So if I sign that paper because they did something wrong, everything that comes their way would be my fault too. I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to be drugged. I don't want to not have my medical information I need. I mean, they're withholding all my medical information. I don't know the doctor's names. I don't know where they are. I mean, they're holding my health hostage. I can't sign that as long as they have me hostage. So I make a deal. I say, I'm not going to sign. I'm going to bail you out, Dad and Mom. I'm going to bail you out. And the state goes, well, you're not going to get that money back. And I go, yep, I understand that. But I can still get Social Security, right? And he goes, yeah, yeah. So then my father agrees to hire an attorney, and that's all he does. I get thrown out of my housing, but then my father comes in trying to act like, well, why don't you come home to take care of Mom? Why don't you take some bullshit story to try to convince it? Nobody believes it. Nobody in the family believes it. They all know something else is going on, but I'm not allowed to speak about it. I am banned from speaking about this. So I come home to their Chelmsford house. There's no Social Security, remember that. The only time I collected Social Security is when I was living in a state program and my father was paying for his own house. Maybe 4 days, 8 days was the most I was ever there a month, and the least was 0. There was many months where I didn't even get to go there. The whole month my father kept it, and I didn't even get to go to any home. I didn't eat at home. I didn't sleep at home. None of my home stuff I could get access to. If I had a book I needed for school at my father's house, I would have to wait sometimes 2 weeks to get it. And that actually happened. There was a time where I needed a instructions manual, and I couldn't get to it when I needed to get to it. So this was a common problem. Well, guess what he does? He bails out on the attorney. He starts getting angry at his own mistakes and starts blaming me. It starts giving me, I can't take it. I mean, these people want me on all these drugs, if I like it or not. When I try to get the doctor to cut down on the drugs, they go up on them against my will because my mother's in the background going, giving him more pills, give him more pills. I'm working as a teacher's aide. In the mornings, the meds are so fucked up from the night before that I guess I don't look good in the mornings. I look like I'm sick and dying in the mornings. And people keep on pointing this out. But I'm working as a teacher's aide. So they say, Zach, every morning for a year or more now, every morning we've known you, you've just looked really bad. Are you taking some medications in the morning? I go, yeah, like Ritalin. They go, no, no, like anything else at nighttime? I go, oh, yeah. I give them the list. They go, whoa, what a list. They go, did you tell the doctors to cut you down? I said, I tried, but I'll do it again. They go, yes, because you can't continue coming in every single day. You come in like this. I go, the teachers know I look like this every morning for years. Since I was well, from 5 to 7, they drugged the shit out of me. But then we moved to Texas and New Mexico and Maine, and they just used other forms of mental abuse. And then we got back to Massachusetts, and then they drugged me some more. And I've been drugged up for years now. I thought this was how it was supposed to happen. I was told by the doctors and my mother that drugging me up was good. They go, no, no. They're using your mother's information. That's why. A psychiatrist use your mother's information to diagnose you. And then if your mother wants a lot of pills, they give it to you. And then if you're still 16, they're still going to listen to your mother's advice because you're only 16. So they're going to continue drugging you. And then when you're 19, you're brand new to the market of being an adult. So there's no way they're just going to listen to you. They're going to go based upon your old medical records. Even when you're 30, they're still going to use your old medical records because they have 15 years of old medical or 10 years or whatever, and your mother has paid them. Don't forget, you don't bite the hand that feeds you. So if your mother pays a psychiatrist to drug you and write down things about you, it gets put down permanently on your medical record. I go, oh shit, so it just kind of keeps going. It's like a snowball going downhill. Yes. So anyways, I go in to the doctor's office, and that, what I just told you was broken up to a couple different talks. I talked with the teachers that I worked with. I was a teacher's aide, and they just left me there. It wasn't like I had anybody overseeing me either. I was just supposed to be a teacher. They had one teacher for 4 kids, another teacher for 3 kids, and then they had me working one-on-one with a kid. And then what they needed to pass off, they would say, okay, Ishmael, go over there. Hey, Joey over there is very hyper, trying to break stuff. Zach, do you think you could work with him? Sure can. Now go over there. I was actually getting paid as a teacher's aide, but my mother's drugging of me was in the way. So they asked me if I could talk to my doctor, talk to my mother, and try to get off of all these pills. So I went into the doctor's office, told them that I'm not sleeping really well because you have me on too many pills. My heart is beating out of control. I get this fear feeling at night. I'm hungover at the morning, and my job is complaining I'm on too many drugs. The doctor goes, well, that's none of their business. And I go, well, can you please cut me off of some of these? He goes, well, you got to give it more time. I'm like, it's been like 4 years. How much more time do you need? No, no, no. Yeah, these meds take a while. You got to give it more time. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go up on this and up on this. And then next year, when we meet again, we'll discuss this. We'll discuss it next month, but you really got to give it quite a bit of time. He refuses to take me off. I don't know. I have to change doctors and demand that he stops. I have no idea what the fuck is going on. Also, my mother is the one informing me what to do. My mother is the one brainwashing me into thinking things that aren't right. Like my mother told me to never look at the side effect list. She told this to me and my father. We should never look at the side effect list because if we take one glimpse at it, all of a sudden we'll think we have all the side effects. Well, I found out that was my mother getting ready to try to pull another evasion trick. If my father or me ever looked at the side effect list, we would all, I'm reporting hangover feelings, feelings of fear, suicidal thoughts in my bedroom after I take my pills. I'm reporting symptoms that are on the side effect list, but I've never seen the side effect list. So I've spent years reporting side effects that are hurting me, but I'm not allowed to look at the list. So I have no idea about the list. And my mother keeps on telling me and my father, you don't want to look at the side effect list. You'll automatically think you're sick. You automatically think you're sick if you look at the side effect list. Yeah, it happens to everybody. You look at the side effect list and then you have all those side. Yeah, don't look at it. The reason why is if I ever looked at the side effect list, I would have realized right away that these are the same side effects I've been reporting for 4 years or more. My father would have noticed the same thing. If my father read the side effect list on the medications they were having me take, they would instantly go, whoa, yeah, that's a problem. He's been reporting this stuff for 4 years. But see, we were never allowed to look at the side effect list because my mother brainwashed me and my father into believing that that was wrong to do. So I'm being brainwashed to think stuff that's not true. She's also trying to convince me that I'm schizophrenic, and she's trying to get me on schizophrenic pills. But the doctors won't give her schizophrenic pills. I'm not schizophrenic. Everybody knows I'm not schizophrenic, but my mother is still pushing for schizophrenic meds to be put into my body. She goes, I want him on schizophrenic pills. I want him on schizophrenic pills. I want him on schizophrenic pills. Why? Because there's a disease out there called medical induced schizophrenia or medication induced schizophrenia. What that is some people, when they take schizophrenic medication, start looking like a schizophrenic. And because I'm normal and there's nothing wrong with me, just like the doctors told her, if the doctors give her those pills to give to me, I will get seriously fucking hurt. And I'll get false diagnoses for the rest of my life. But my mother knows this. That is why she's pushing to harm me. She wants this to go away. She doesn't want anybody to find out what she's doing. So if she can drug me even more, she can nail it in the stone. She can put it in stone. So she keeps trying and keeps trying to drug me with meds I don't need. But the doctors aren't going to give her those ones. Those could hurt me too much. That level of crazy is too much for the doctors. They're okay with her drugging me a little bit, twisting my mind, whacking me with a ruler, throwing shoes at my face, trafficking me around the country. That's fine. But the next level up, maybe I might die. They don't want to be responsible for a dead child. They're okay with me being made crippled, but they're definitely not okay with, and that depends on the doctor. And that depends on who they're listening to, too. If they're listening to their patient, maybe they realize, but most of them were just listening to the abuser, my mother, call everything a fantasy. So, I find out my father already has me on Social Security. We're sitting in the room, my father whispers in their ear, oh, you're already on Social Security. He bails out on his part of the deal. My mother passes away. He lies about everything going on in that situation. And then I can't handle it anymore. So I find some illegal drugs that his new side piece, his new wife, brought in. Some drugs that belong to a dead person. They're not alive no more. They're Perk 30s and Xanax bars. And they don't belong to her at all. That actually they're illegal because they don't belong to anybody who exists anymore. I mean, the only person that can take it is a dead body in the ground. So she can either sell them, get high on them, or try to use them however she sees fit, or she can give them away. All those are illegal. Even having those in the house are illegal. And don't forget, my father told me, as long as I only take the meds one time, it's okay to take somebody else's meds. My mother was allowed to steal my medication as long as it was one time. So this thought in my head is confusing me. I don't know what to do. I'm still getting drugged. I'm all confused. So I go in, I take the Percocet, I take the Xanax, and I take some of them. But it's a little too powerful for me, and my nervous system is all fucked up, and I go past it, and I lose the ability to walk, but then I can walk again, and everything gets worse for me. Now, obviously, I'm high as a kite, so that there's no way to tell about the nervous system. There's no way to tell, but when I'm sober, you can tell there's something wrong. I can be sober for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. It doesn't matter. You'll always see me having a problem with my body for the last 25 years. I'm 32. So then they drop me off in a shelter that I'm not allowed to use because I don't have paperwork on my real disabilities. They know something is seriously wrong, but they don't care. They're hoping I die as soon as possible. Now, they know this now. I'm not on drugs. I've forgiven them. I've given them so much. I forgave them for stealing from me 12 grand. But you know what I had a dream about last night? I would bet my father tried to make my Social Security as small as possible in case I get it again. I would bet you $1,000 that when I finally do collect Social Security, that it's only like $300. And when I go, well, why does everybody else seem to get 750? Why do I get 350? They'll say, well, it's because you never worked. And I'll say, no, no, no. My father got 980. I know Jasmine, age 32, gets 780. What the hell's going on here? Well, your father took his name off of the Social Security to try to make it as small as possible. What? So he uses me up, and now that I need my money, I mean, it doesn't affect him. They base Social Security off of your father's, how much he paid in to taxes. So that's how they would base the number I get. He wouldn't be paying into it. They just use his name to figure out how much to give me. But I would bet you $1,000 that my father purposely hired a lawyer just to fuck up my Social Security even more. How much you want to bet he pulled his name off of there so I would get as little as possible if I ever received? I don't know for sure on this one. It's just what I thought about last night. But he did say, I'm going to make sure that you don't get nothing. I'm going to make sure that you don't get anything based upon my name. I'll use you up. I'll use your name however I fucking see. But you are not allowed to get Social Security like the rest of the people in the United States. No, I'm going to do something special just to screw you. That does seem like something my father would do, is hire a lawyer, take his name and his all the stuff that's supposed to be used with Social Security out of the case, just to make it smaller. I would bet my father is responsible for making that check smaller. He's also responsible that I don't get it. And honestly, I just want to work. I just want to work, raise a family in my home. That's it. But now I have to die because of them. I've been dying for 25 years. I've been suffering for 25 years. And I think he's going to continue to try to put up walls and finish me off. So even if I move one step forward, my father's over there trying to just bury me. And my family doesn't care. The rest of my family, they think the Wicked Witch is dead. They love my father. I like my father now. I would have loved him if he handled this the first time around. But that's it. I'm trying my best to follow Jesus and give these people love still. But I think I'm stupid for doing it. Why should I be nice to somebody trying to kill me? I mean, Jesus said I should. I turned the other cheek while he was slapping me for a USB. Yes, when my mother passed away, I was really upset about it. He was really upset. He couldn't find his USB. I told him to check the front pocket. He started screaming at me, I'm a thief. I said, check the front pocket. I go upstairs, I check the front pocket, it's there. He goes, you must have put it in there, you're a thief. Stuff like that. You put it in there, you took it and put it in there. So then I start walking out. He goes, leave, get the fuck out of my house. Even though, really, I paid for the house. I gave you $980 a month. Without my name, you didn't get that money. You understand that? Without my name there, you don't get that money. My name's on the check, and without me, you get nothing. But he still thinks that money is his. He thinks that every dime that I ever got was his. My inheritance is his. My social security is his. My body is his to use with. My health is his to use with. My life is his to destroy. Everything is his. I don't even get to stay alive. I don't. To stay alive, I need my record straight. I'm not allowed to work. I'm not allowed to use a shelter. I'm not allowed to collect Social Security. I'm not allowed to drive. I'm not allowed to do anything but just live in the woods with $0 for the rest of my life with this setup. They're trying to manslaughter me, really. If you look at the evidence, and there's a whole paper trail, they're going to call me crazy. It's all a fantasy. It's all a story. It's a red hair. All this victim blaming bullshit. But if you drive me around and somebody actually spent the time helping me, it's not hard to prove. I mean, he brought me to multiple states. He filed paperwork that's on the record. I mean, there's a paper trail that it's not hard to track down if you have me. If you have the context and my information, it's very easy to figure out what happened here. Unless you try to believe the person trying to kill me. I mean, how many people know of a bank robber that wants to admit to their bank robbery? Does anybody? How about a murderer? If a serial killer starts serial killing, do they usually go around telling everybody how they did it before they got caught? No. They usually get caught, then they tell somebody, unless the guilt gets to them. Some people have a conscience like me, but I see my father doesn't have any conscience whatsoever. He's okay with having me on the floor bleeding and ODing, and he's fine with having people drug me up, and he's fine with my mother taking my Vicodin and my medication and my Xanax, and he's okay with lying about her and me to protect her. I mean, as long as he's protecting her name, I can die and suffer all he wants. He doesn't understand his words have consequences. Your actions have consequences, sometimes for other people. If you choose to drink and drive, that can have consequences for other people where they might not be alive tomorrow. So you made a choice to drink and drive, and now that person isn't alive. That's you. That's what my father is doing to me. He's making choices that are going to result in my death no matter what I choose to do. Now, I am trying my best to choose to go to the doctors, work with Social Security, work a job while injured. I literally worked a job while bleeding into my testicles, and I still did my job. So, we know I'm doing everything I can to choose to stay alive and follow Jesus Christ and do the right thing and help this never happen to somebody else ever again. I'm working with an 84-year-old senile sex offender that everybody hates. Everybody can't stand. He has no friends. The only friends he got are my customers that I send to him. But I do this out of love for Jesus Christ. I do this so nobody else has to suffer. But I have to suffer until my family or the society decides to do something about it. It would be nice if somebody actually prevented my murder or my manslaughter or my manslaughtering before it's too late. I mean, if my father passes away, both the people that did this to me will be dead. My mother already passed away by her own drinking and pill popping. Are we going to wait for my 89-year-old father to pass away next? How long do I got to wait to get better? All I want to do is get better and help society. That's it. It just requires some paperwork, epilepsy medication, going to the doctors. That's it. But I can't, when I do that now, it's not fixed yet. Nobody's done anything. So when I go into the emergency room, I'm just sent away thanks to my father and my mother. And now there's an Alice involved, his new side piece. And she used to be a nurse, so she can really fuck my shit up. And I bet they did. I bet they tried to make my Social Security as small as possible, take their name out of the case or something, even though they used my name to profit.